Next up, based in Rockford, Illinois, she's the host
Mhm.
of Good Day Stateline on Fox 39. I got to appear on her show recently as well, talking golf. It's Michelle Abraham joining us on the course of life. Michelle, how you doing today?
I'm good. How are you, Alex?
Very good. Great to see you in the studio and great to have you on the podcast as well to get a little bit more of your background in the broadcasting world. For me specifically, I went to school for broadcasting, but it first started with me doing high school radio. But I read your bio and it looked like you've been doing kind of the Michelle TV show for your entire life. When did you first
Yeah.
decide that you wanted to do something with yourself in front of a camera?
I can only remember as far back as like being 7, which is definitely when I hosted my first TV show in my parents' living room. My parents made my brother and I get babysitters. Well, like we were getting too old to need one, but we would fight a lot. So we would have babysitters. And so even when we were like 7 and 9, we would have our babysitters do what we wanted to do. So I did a radio show with one of my babysitters where I would interview her, and she was like the leader of a band. And then my other babysitter, who was not a very good actress, she was my first guest on my talk show. And we have this all on video because my brother got the video camera. We were
Nice.
definitely children of the 90s where it's a big, VHS camera and no parents to supervise us. And that's what we did. So that's kind of the length of this career.
For sure. Yeah, that kind of reminds me of watching TRL as a kid and seeing Carson Daly interview the stars and me being inspired to maybe be the next Tim or Ryan Seacrest down the line as well.
Totally.
Very cool. And so I know that you eventually got into kind of a crash course in how to learn how to be a broadcaster at a professional level by actually going to a broadcasting school. That's something that kind of gets thrown around in the media world a lot, but I'm curious what that crash course was like and what the experience was like going to a school to learn how to broadcast professionally as you got older.
Yeah, it was pretty interesting because I went to a 4-year university first. I went to Drake University in Des Moines, and I have a degree in magazine journalism, which can tell you how old I am because I'm sure the degree still exists, but there wasn't a lot of online portion in that time. We were actually writing print journalism, which does exist, but not in the same form. And I graduated and I was copy editing at a business in Evanston. And I was like, not loving it. I mean, I was good at it. I liked doing it, but all day I spent upstairs in this media. It was like a food media place, and everyone else was downstairs having fun, and I was just upstairs editing everyone's work. And remembered this is not what I wanted to do with my life. So I went back to broadcasting school. At the time, it was called Illinois Center for Broadcasting. Now it's called Illinois Media School, pretty sure. And it was just like a 1-year program of radio and TV. And so it was really interesting because, yes, there were people there who just wanted to go to some sort of college, and this is where they landed because they thought it would be easy. But for me, especially after going through 4 years of college, like this is where I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do and learn everything. And the internships are what end up getting you your foot in the door. But it was only 1 year, which is just super different than another college.
Yeah.
And I had an internship in Chicago at a TV show called You and Me This Morning, which was on WCIU. It is no longer on WCIU, but that's kind of was my first experience really in a talk show day to day. And I was like, yeah, this is exactly what I want to do.
Very cool. So yeah, now you have Good Day Stateline, which you host and produce as well too, and that is a daily Monday through Friday show. I have a small appreciation of what it's
Yeah.
like to put together content that just comes out once a week. You're doing it for content that comes out 5 days a week. Walk our audience through what that's actually like to film and create these shows that air 5 days a week.
Yeah. So for me, being the executive producer, it's a lot of patterns because that's the best way to fill something. I've always told everyone in the building that Good Day Stateline is like a magazine, not a newspaper, which is probably from my background, but we try really hard to be planning things as far out as possible. I have Christmas stuff on my calendar right now. We're not like diving into it, but I do have it already
That's okay.
there.
The Christmas and July fans appreciate that you're getting excited
That's
already.
true. Getting excited. But a lot of our show, or a hefty portion, maybe 50%, is through advertisers, local advertisers, and small businesses that want to be part of our show. So they do that through our sales department. So that's kind of handed to us. I would say that's a good 2 out of 5 segments for every day. But the other 3 are ours to create and, bring what we want to the show. This is my gosh, we started in 2019. We had an hour-long show on Sunday mornings, which I was not the executive producer at the time of that. So watching that grow to now, it's my hopes are always that every audience member is having fun somewhere in the show. And so where I can put that in is where I want to put that in. So right now, the way that we do that is just every single day there's like a fun element that's there where we can go find the guests that we think will fit the bill the best. And again, we try to do that in advance. Our newest segment we just launched last week. It's called GDS Summer School. It's taking place of a teacher segment that we did in the school year. And so we're learning things. So last week we learned the proper way to run for Global Running Day. And then yesterday we learned how to tie a tie for Father's Day, which was a skill that my coordinating producer who's on air with me, she just like really wanted to learn how to tie a tie. And that's like the fun we want our audience to have while they're also learning about local businesses and new places to go in the area. So it's kind of like a balance. It's not news at all, except for maybe some entertainment news. But
Yeah.
it's, we try, it's the fun stuff. That's what we try to say.
Definitely. By the way, I still need a little bit of coaching on tying a tie after all these years.
I don't know
still.
if I could do it again.
No, that's great perspective. And yeah, it's a local resource for people that even live locally, still are learning about new things that pop up in the State Line area. I'm someone that's been going there for about a decade. I had the pleasure of marrying into a State Line family. My wife, also Michelle, is from the Rockford area. So that's how I got to know the area. But for those who haven't been to the Illinois, Wisconsin State Line area, it sits about 90 miles northwest of Chicago. Give some perspective of what the area is like and who the people are like that you deal with on a daily basis.
Yeah, so I actually grew up in Schaumburg, so a suburb of Chicago. I moved out here. Well, I started working out here in 2013, so quite some time where I can say that this community is willing to let everyone succeed. They want everyone to just do well in whatever corner that is for you, whether it's your TV show or somebody who has a new store or a restaurant. Like everyone is trying to do their best at all times and they're really welcoming. It is such a small town, big city. People told me that when I first started working here, and I was like, no, it's 150,000 people. No way. Yes, way. You will see the same people once every 2 weeks or something,
I
no
love
matter
that.
where you are, which is like such a great thing. And people do really care what you're doing. I imagine being in a much larger market like Chicago or something like that. Of course, you have people who are maybe like fans if you're on TV, right? They're like, oh, I love watching you. Your clothes are cool. But where we are, it's so different. The compliments that we get or the conversations we have with people when we're on the street is about their experience watching us, and they really do watch and they care about what we're talking about because it's local to them, but also they truly feel like you're their best friend, which is a fun concept because you know that there aren't 3 million people watching you every night. So on the flip side, like we appreciate our viewers, I think probably in a different way
Yeah.
than a super large market does.
Yeah, you definitely have that connection in the area, and that resonates to the people that I've met there just in my limited experiences. I'm excited to spend pretty much a full summer up there, and I know you're going to be very busy with all your endeavors throughout the summer, too. Beyond Good Day Stateline, our sports fans will be really interested to hear about your role with the Rockford IceHogs, which is essentially the minor league affiliate of the Chicago Blackhawks in the NHL. How did that opportunity come about to be the in-game MC for the IceHogs?
So this was the end of my second season last month. It's crazy to think that the hockey players are still playing, though. My dad just reminded me yesterday that
Yeah,
we
right.
could still be going. I was like, holy cow, it's 90 degrees out. Um, Basically, they were looking for a new person. The previous guy who did it full time, he contacted me 3 years ago and said, do you want to do this with me? Because they're looking to add a girl. They never had a full time girl do the in game MC. And then when he left, I took over along with he's kind of my partner because sometimes we get to work together, but sometimes we don't. So his name is Matt and he works for the local radio stations out here. And so we kind of trade off games, being the in-game MC, but some big games we get to do together. I am actually a huge sports fan, but if you would have told me any time in my life that I would end up working in hockey, I would have said, how? Because I actually could maybe color commentary on baseball, basketball. I could be paying attention to football, but I've never really watched hockey in my entire life because Blackhawks were blacked out most of my childhood.
Hmm.
Um, but that's not what I do. I don't I watch the game as much as I can, but my job there, much like my job here, is just to have fun with the audience. But it's so fun because the audience of the Ice Hogs game is actually there. And so I get to interact with human beings instead of a screen, which, day to day screen sometimes like low key, you're good, but it's fun on a Friday or Saturday night to actually engage with the people right there. And we know from tons of surveys and just comments and stuff that our Ice Hogs fans love the game outside of the game. They love playing the trivia games. They love all the fun we have on the ice, and it's like a huge part of their experience. So I never ever would have guessed that. I think I've been to like 40 something hockey games in the last
Nice.
2 years. And that is crazy.
Very cool. Yeah, and we get that AHL experience here in Austin. Our Texas Stars actually play the Rockford IceHogs occasionally during
Yes.
the season. And going to those games, you're right. It's a game within a game during the breaks and the stoppages because you throw it to the MC and there's all sorts of fun games and moments and crowd interactions that happen on the Jumbotron with the crowd. Give me an example of some crazy stuff that happens during the break or some fun games that you guys enjoy playing at IceHogs games with you as the MC.
My favorite is during the intermission. So it's on the ice, and we only played it a couple times. It's called Hot or Cold. And it's always like a very, very like excited little boy. And he's 8 to 10 years old. So picture a little boy, 8 to 10 years old.
Yes,
He's
yeah.
on the ice. He has to be blindfolded, and he's trying to get to our mascot, Hammy. And if he finds Hammy, he wins something, usually a signed stick. And the crowd has to help, which is why it's such a great game. So the crowd cheers or boos if he's hot or cold. And the times that I've been able to participate in that, there could have been maybe two people in the stands helping him, and I would have had the best time ever. Like, it's just so fun to have everyone come together and help this little kid. And it's like, I hope we play it every game next season.
Yeah, what is it about someone being blindfolded and the discovery of things that just makes it so exciting? Isn't that wild? Yeah.
Oh, it's the best. It's my favorite game.
One of the weirder things I did recently in my content is I started playing golf holes blindfolded.
Oh my gosh.
And it's really difficult, but it's ton of fun. It's like very freeing. You don't think about anything when you swing. It's actually a ball. I'm really enjoying it.
I would probably hurt someone if I did
Yeah,
that, but
it can be dangerous to do it on an open
yeah.
course, definitely. Awesome. Again, it's Michelle Abraham joining us here from Good Day Stateline. Let's get into some fun questions as well. One other thing that I read about in your bio, which I know you're very proud of, is yourself being a published author. Congrats on
Yeah.
that. That's not an
Thank you.
easy feat. Tell everyone about Lunchtime Smorgasbord and what went into that concept.
Yeah, Lunchtime Smorgasbord is my children's book. It's about me and my brother, kind of the beginning of what we were talking about, how we always were doing crazy things together. I actually wrote it in college. I was in a children's literature class, and we had to come up with memories from our childhood and pick one and write a book. So I did that. It's about my brother and I having a breakfast and lunch competition and seeing who wins when my mom is not home. The whole concept is we just fight until we're home alone, and then we can finally be friends. And I published it at the end of 2022. And I'm actually working on the Christmas version that should be ready by this fall.
Nice.
And it's called the Christmas Cookie Showdown of Lunchtime Smorgasbord.
Love that.
And I mean, I've been writing since I could talk. So that's always been fun for me. I just like very creative, very fun, kid-oriented stuff. If I wasn't doing this, I'd probably be a kindergarten teacher.
Okay, cool. Yeah, that's a very cool endeavor, and keep at it because I love seeing Christmas
Yeah.
content as well too. But favorite foods we always like to wrap up with. I read in your bio your favorite food is toast. Is that true?
Uh-huh. Yeah, and it absolutely is.
What's your
And
absolute favorite thing or topping you have to put on toast?
I would say like a burrata or bruschetta is my number one like favorite food. You're not gonna. Well, I guess you could order toast somewhere, but like a variant of toast is like burrata or bruschetta. The burrata at Woodfire in downtown Rockford is so good. It's just this mozzarella cheese that's like extra fluffy and delicious, and they have some sort of salt on their crust, which is the bread part of it. That is amazing. So you have to get that if you come to Rockford, Woodfire downtown. I just I just love toast. I'm laughing because it's a main part of my book too. I just always love toast.
Yeah, no, and I love that you went the burrata angle too. I was curious where
Yeah,
you were going to go with that,
fancy
but
toast.
spoken like a true food media member that's been to a bunch of restaurants who knows a good burrata.
Yeah.
What's your Portillo's order? Most popular, probably chain in the Illinois state line region, famous for Italian beefs and a bunch of other things too. But what do you like to get when you're there?
Chopped salad, no cheese with a side of cheese fries.
That's the healthiest Portillo's order I've seen in a long time. Nice job.
I mean, It's not that healthy, but you got to get the cheese right.
And we always end with our 19th hole question, but I'm going to spin it for something that I know you like. So
Okay.
at the end of a long day, that's when we have our 19th hole meal as golfers. But the end of a long day, I know you like a good wine and chocolate. So tell me,
Yeah.
like, what's the chocolate going to be and what's the wine paired with it at the end of the day?
So the wine depends on what season we're in. It's like so hot out right now. So unless you're blasting your air, I just don't think you can have like a great red wine. But there is a red wine and it's from Cooper's Hawk. And I'm trying to remember. I think it's called Romantic Red. So
Okay.
you put it in the fridge, which is rare. Romance Red. Thank you. It's Romance Red. My producer is actually in my ear and she knows what
Perfect.
wine it is too. So Romance Red. It's so, so good. It's like juice, but perfect for summer. And I think I would okay, my favorite chocolate right now is this bag you could buy at Target. It's, like a s'mores mix. That's what it's called. It's Target brand Favorite Day s'mores mix, and it's little
Okay.
marshmallows, little cereals covered in chocolate, and honestly, that goes well with the juice wine.
That's like a campfire and a bite there. I love that.
I know, it's
Awesome.
good.
Michelle, thank you so much for joining the Course of Life. Appreciate your perspective and background in the broadcasting world and look forward to creating more content with you in the State Line area as well.
Yeah, Alex, thank you so much.